Hey, how's it going, everybody? So today, just a quick one. Um, one more for newbies again. So I was going to do a quick walkthrough on how to do a manual gearbox in a truck. Now, most new drivers, like myself, when you do your lessons now, you'll learn how to drive a truck in an automatic, because most trucks on the road now are autos. All the new trucks are all automatics. It's not very often that you're going to stumble across a manual, but as you probably know, you will more than likely, well, for sure, it's the rules that even if you pass in an automatic, you can drive a manual truck still, which is fine. But when you're somebody like me, I passed my test in an automatic, in an Arctic class 1, and my first little job that I got in a truck was driving a DAF CF 4-wheel tipper for a farmer. And when I got in the truck, it was a manual. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, when you look at it, first off, it's really like, well, it can be quite daunting. It depends what you like. I tend to learn these driving things quite quickly, but I thought if you end up being somebody like me who has found themselves back in a manual truck, it can be a bit daunting. So if you know beforehand, then you know it just helps you a little bit. So I'm just going to walk you through how you would do it. So when you first get in, here is your manual gear stick in a truck. Now you'll notice obviously that is not laid out like it would be in a car. Now I'm driving a Scania V8 today with what's called a 3/3 gearbox. So you'll notice that you've got two sets of 3 gears: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now gears 1 to 3 in this are on what's called your low range. So on the side of the gear stick here, you'll see that you've got your high and low range selector. So when that's down, like it is now, see it goes up and down? When it goes down like that, you're in what's called your low range. Now, this gives you access to your first 3 gears. So much like a normal car, obviously it's in a slightly different position because of how the gears are. So you foot down on the clutch like you normally would. So you're going to pull it across and down. Right, we're now in first gear. Okay. Now a lot of the time, if you're empty, you're not going to need this. So, but you know, you will need it sometimes if you're fully loaded, you're going up a hill. So we're in first gear, then you'd accelerate, obviously clutching again, and then you go up into second gear. See how we've moved into the second gear position? Then you would take your foot off the clutch. Obviously I'm not going to do that because I've got the engine running. And then, so you'll come down into your third gear. Right, so you've just gone through your first 3 gears. This is where, if you don't know, it will stump you a little bit, because now what you're going to need to do, now I do this while I'm still in gear and driving along, so you flick up, so you kind of pre-selected now your high range gear set. So you see how we're in the up position here, up. So now you have to come in and back across into what would be your first gear. So now you're in 4th, and then you drive along, obviously foot on the clutch, up into 5th, and then you go through your 5th gear obviously, and then foot on the clutch, and then into your top gear. Now in addition to that, this gearbox has got also what's called a splitter. Now you don't see this on everything that you've got, But your splitter, the easiest way to describe your splitter, which is this little lever here, is a bit like having a half a gear. So say I'm chugging along, doing 56 miles an hour, got a full load on, and we hit a hill. Now obviously you're going to start to bleed speed off on that hill, but if you, just before you get to the hill, so you keep your foot in, you keep going, okay, so you put your foot on the clutch and you flick the splitter down, right? So you're in the lower splitter. So now it'll just, like you say, it's a bit like half a gear, so you'll just get a bit more revs. It'll keep your momentum going a little bit, and then obviously you'll change up and down the gears as you need to, as you're going up and down, or up the hill, should I say. And then obviously, yeah, you just get to the top of the hill, foot in, flick the splitter back up into the higher range, and then you're smoking it along again. So yeah, in summary then, so the way that you would do it, so you'd start in low range, first gear, second gear, third gear, then flick it up, so we're now in high range, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear, and then splitter accordingly. And it's as simple as that. It seems really daunting because it seems like there's a lot going on. I've effectively got 12 gears in this truck, because obviously you've got 6, and then each of the gears has got 2 settings, so 6 times 2, I've got 12 gears. More often than not, when you hop in a manual, you're going to encounter what they call a 4/4 gearbox, which is the same as this, essentially, only you've got 1 would be here, 2, 3, 4. So first 4 gears in low range, okay, and then you go into your high range. So then you'd be 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you may or may not have a splitter on the side again. So if you've got a splitter, you've got a total of 16 gears to play around with. Hopefully that's helpful. You're probably not going to encounter it very often. But yeah, sometimes it's just good to know. Not many people my age have ever driven a manual before. I'm 35, so it's not likely that you're going to do it, but hopefully it was helpful. Thanks.